Welcome to Hey Bills Podcast, number whatever number this is. I don't know. Today's Wednesday, August the 22nd. Does that sound right? Anyway, it's Wednesday. I waited a while to do this, and not really on purpose, but I'm glad I did. I was busy. I was really busy. I was actually in Orchard Park for the last preseason game. Too bad the game was in Pittsburgh, but I was there on some family business over the weekend, and we have a condo in Orchard Park, not far at all from the stadium. So I was up there for like a long weekend. I think I went up there Thursday, came back on Monday, and I got so busy. Oh, wow. I got so busy that let's try that again. There we go. Got so busy that I just didn't have time to do the podcast. I even brought my tablet, which is falling right now, and I got to make sure that thing stays up. Okay, even brought my tablet so I can go ahead and do the podcast, but I just never got around to it. Glad I didn't, because a lot of stuff's happened in the last few days since the podcast, including the Stephen A. Smith stuff on Monday about Diggs, and just I don't know if I even want to go there. Let's go with the Steelers results. Not a great preseason game, but here's what I want to say. Since I've had several days to peruse the various Bills Mafia Facebook groups and places like that, the sky is not falling. It's preseason. Now I understand why some folks may think the sky is falling. Yesterday on the Pat McAfee show, they started talking about the whole Stephen A. Smith Diggs stuff. And then McAfee says, it's interesting because McAfee's a big Bills guy. He gets a lot of people on his show, including Brandon Beane and Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, even Sal Capaccio. He gets a lot of guys. Gabe Davis gets a lot of guys from the Bills on his show a lot. Von Miller. But here's the thing. He went through it and he nailed it. He's like, look, last season at this time, the whole world, all the media and everybody had the Bills crowned as the Super Bowl champion before the season even started. And then we all know how the season went. It just, thing after thing after thing after thing happened, just bad stuff. Despite that, we won 14 games. We looked good for a good portion of the season and just didn't have it at the end. So since then, since the Cincinnati awful loss in the playoffs, it seems like based on what the national media sees, they don't see the stuff we see. They're not as focused in on the Bills as we are. But what they see is Diggs complaining on the sidelines in the locker room at the game at Cincinnati. Nothing happening with Diggs in the offseason. Diggs doing the cryptic messages, and then him showing up and having a problem at minicamp, and just the whole Diggs thing. They jumped on, the national media jumped all over that. And then all they see is just the bad. They see this Steelers game. They just see, according to the national media, bad stuff's been happening to the Bills, and it's piling up, and the national media is all saying, oh, well, their window's closed. They had their chance. It's not going to happen. They're regressing now. They might not even make the playoffs because the Jets are so glorious and the Dolphins too. Well, some of the guys in Pat McAfee's crew on his show yesterday pointed out, look, the Bills, I don't care what you say, the Bills have the best offensive line in the AFC East. Better than the Jets, better than the Dolphins. It's not perfect, as we saw this past weekend, but it's better than the Jets and Dolphins, and the Patriots we're not even concerned about because they're not going to be that good. They'll be lucky to get to 500. So those are the facts. Those are facts. The Jets and Dolphins offensive lines are garbage. The sky isn't falling, but my tablet is. Let's try this one more time. The sky isn't falling, folks. My I really only had 2 takeaways. By the way, this podcast is going to be a lot shorter than normal. I'm not going to do 35 to 40 minutes and breaking down all these players to play. I'm not going to do all that this time. I really have 2 main takeaways from this game. Number 1, I am mildly concerned with the penalties and the offensive line. But then again, I was mildly concerned about the penalties last year. I was majorly concerned with the offensive line last year. We've improved that. Guard play looks like it's taken big steps forward. O'Cyrus Torrence looks like he's the real deal. And then Connor McGovern is much better than what we had at a guard position. Who was it? Stephen A. Smith or somebody was saying about how Roger Saffold. Somebody was saying, oh, their best offensive lineman they lost, Roger Saffold. Roger Saffold was garbage last year. He got put in the Pro Bowl because of his name. He was horrible last year. Look at his statistics. Very, very poor. We got rid of him and upgraded big time. But now we're worried about the tackles. So, let's take it easy. I think it's going to be okay. Aaron Rodgers said it years ago. Relax. It's the preseason. The final score doesn't matter. There's no game planning. There's none of the Steelers play a different kind of defense than anybody else in the NFL, especially up front. Take it easy. They play that old 3-4 defense that nobody else plays anymore. So when you don't game plan against it, and all the Bills have seen in the preseason is their defense, and in training camp, it's quite a bit different, quite a bit of an adjustment. And I'm trying to adjust my brand new hat, which I bought when I was up in Buffalo. I like this one. Okay, so that's takeaway number 1. Mildly concerned with penalties in the offensive line. I kind of put those together because the O-line committed a good portion of the penalties too. My other real takeaway from Saturday's game against the Steelers, Kyle Allen is QB2. Stop texting me! Kyle Allen is QB2. Okay? Sorry. My wife's upstairs texting me knowing that I'm doing this podcast. I don't know why. Let me mute. Let me turn down my phone. There we go. I usually do this. I don't know why I didn't. Okay, there we go. Turn down my phone. Anyway, Kyle Allen is QB2, not Matt Barkley. I told you that after the last game. But people went crazy over how good Matt Barkley played. And, now you see. All right, those are my really only 2 takeaways. Everything else it's preseason. It's trash. It doesn't matter. Now going into game 3, and the final preseason game this Saturday at Chicago at 1 o'clock, I'll be looking at, just like all of us, cornerback 2, what did the Bills do? I think Dane Jackson has wrapped up that job, by the way. I think he's the starter from the get-go. We're just going to see how they work Benford and Elam in, and they will, because they're good players. We've got a lot of depth at cornerback, which is fantastic. And I think Trey's back to being Trey. We'll see, but I think he is. Middle linebacker. That's an issue. Bernard has been hurt. Still hurt. Didn't practice yesterday. Don't know what's going on there. I think it's a hamstring. They signed some young guy, some undrafted rookie that I think played in the USFL. It was USFL, XFL, whatever these other leagues are. I think he played in that league. We'll see. I think the draft pick out of Tulane, our boy, is going to be the starting middle linebacker before the season ends. I think they're going to work him in. You might see him play some of that in this last preseason game, actually. I like him. He just may not be ready to start. All right. So, wide receiver 5 and 6. Is it Shakir versus Isabella? Are one of those guys not going to make this team? And does Isabella have a real shot? And are the Bills going to make... I mean, if you're going to cut Shakir, you try and trade him, because he might have a low round pick trade value. He's experienced. After last year's rookie year, had a decent rookie year. Not great, but decent. I just think we have big depth. Wide receivers, big depth. Defensive line, big tip. Everybody, I heard my uncle over the weekend. Hey, Dave. Hey, my Uncle David. When I was up there, complaining about the defensive line. He thinks the defensive line's trash. I could not disagree more, Dave. Could not disagree more. I think our D-line is deep and might be as good as it was in the 2010 to 2012 when we had Mario Williams and Kyle Williams and all and Jerry Hughes and Marcel Darius. Seriously. And I'm not joking. I think we could be that good at the D-line. We'll see, especially once Vaughn gets back. If we've got Vaughn and Leonard Floyd and the big boys in the middle, I don't know. I think we could be really good on the D-line. So anyway, that's really it. I just wanted to do this, a quickie this time, to say the sky is not falling, Bills Mafia. The window is not closed. If anything, I like the fact that the media as a whole is kind of piling on the Bills. And if you notice, the bettors aren't. We're still top 3 in bets to win the Super Bowl. It's still Kansas City, Cincinnati, and us as the top 3. Go to almost any legit betting line there is, and that's your top 3 in various orders. So I trust Vegas more than I trust the national media. Vegas don't lose. National media just wants to have hot takes all the time. Wants Bills Mafia to react to them. Don't react to them. Now I hope McDermott is going to the team, especially after this third preseason game, between then and the first game. I hope McDermott goes to the team and shows them all the clips from TV. It says, look, there are people picking you to not make the playoffs. There are people picking you, saying your floor is 8-9. I saw that the other day. I'm like, what? Yeah, if Josh Allen gets injured early in the season and is out for the season, yeah, then we got a chance to be 8-9. But so does Kansas City and Cincinnati, and everybody else has a star quarterback if it happens to their guy. So the sky's not falling. Yes, we've squandered opportunities to win the ring. And that's why I think Diggs is upset. I think he's upset that we're squandering opportunities. He wants a ring badly, and he's turning 30, and he's not getting any younger. He knows his personal window is going to be closing soon, and he wants that ring. And I'm glad he's frustrated. Truthfully, I'm glad. I don't think he wants out. I think he's frustrated, and I'm glad he's frustrated. I think there might have been a point in the offseason where he felt the way Stephen A. felt, and that's when Stephen A. heard his little information from his source. I don't think that's true anymore. I think Diggs is ready to roll. All reports from training camp are that he has been even more intense than normal in training camp. And I think Diggs might have the best year of his career. Just a thought. And I think our team is going to have chips piled up on both of their shoulders because of what everybody's saying about him. So that's why I like the fact that everyone's saying they're not going to be what they were and what they should have been last year. I love that. McDermott should use the hell out of that and start piling those chips up. Pile them up and use them. Use them as fuel. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. But who am I? I'm just a fan. I'm a fanatic. I'm a Bills fanatic. Always have been. Former broadcaster who lives in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It was so nice to be in Orchard Park for the weekend. Yeah, I was there for that cold day. That day, what was it, like 63 for the high? That was insanity. I saw that coming, though, because I looked at the forecast, so I brought clothes accordingly. Down here, it's 95 with 150% humidity every day. It's ridiculous. Our screen, we have a back deck on our upper level, and there's a door to it. Every summer, that door has issues opening and closing because it expands so much from all the humidity. Yeah, it probably should get it fixed. But then if you if you plane it down too much or whatever, or sand it down, then in the winter you got a big gap. Welcome to the South. Anyway, I will see you next week. I'll try not to be so late after the game. I'll throw this podcast, a new podcast, on either Sunday or Monday at the latest to get an immediate reaction. And then the following week, there won't be a game. We'll be kind of waiting for the regular season to start. The following week, I will probably do my picks. I'll do a podcast with my picks for the season. But that won't be next week. That'll be the following week. So anyway, Bills Mafia, the sky is not falling. 5 words. That's what I want you to remember. Go Bills.